Having carefully considered all this evidence, the Chamber is entirely satisfied that the KLA did have a prison camp in the farm compound in Lapushnik, as alleged by the prosecution. Count 6 of the indictment alleges that all the prisoners held in the prison camp were subjected to cruel treatment. Over 30 prisoners are alleged to have been detained. Almost all of these have been proved to have been detained in either a very small basement storage room or in another very small room used as a cowshed. In the cowshed, most prisoners were chained to the wall and unable to move from their position in the room. They were forced to soil themselves in their clothes. Many of the prisoners had been badly injured, with broken limbs, bones, or internal injuries. Others had been shot. The evidence indicates that it was a regular occurrence for a prisoner to be blindfolded, tied, and taken from the room at night by KLA soldiers, who often wore hoods to hide their faces. The prisoners were then severely beaten or subjected to other extreme violence, and later were returned to the detention room, at times unconscious or in severe pain. On the 25th or 26th of July, the remaining detainees at the prison camp, over 20 of them, were marched into the Berisha Mountains under armed KLA escort. In the mountains, about half of them were set free and allowed to leave. The others remained under KLA guard. The remains of 9 bodies were later exhumed from graves located in this area of the Berisha Mountains. The Chamber has heard evidence of individual abductions, detention, and mistreatment by KLA soldiers of both Serbian and Kosovo Albanian civilians between May and July 1998. It was not proved, however, that these acts were on a scale or of a nature necessary to constitute a widespread or systematic attack on a civilian population. There remains the further critical issue whether the 3 accused, Fatmir Limaj, Haradin Bala, and Ishak Muslio, or any of them, have been proved to have been criminally responsible for any of the offences which have been established by the prosecution.
This case concerns crimes allegedly committed between the 1st of March and the 30th of September 1998 in the Dugačin area of Kosovo. It is alleged that during this period, the UÇK-ja, also known as Kosovo Liberation Army, and which we will refer to as the KLA, persecuted and murdered Serb and Kosovo Roma civilians, as well as Kosovo Albanian civilians perceived to be collaborating with Serbian forces in order to consolidate total control of the Dugatini area. Ramush Haradinaj, Idris Balai, and Lahi Brahimai stood trial as alleged participants in a joint criminal enterprise aiming to consolidate total KLA control of the Dugatini area by the unlawful removal and mistreatment of the aforementioned civilian groups. The Chamber found that the ill treatment, forcible transfer, and killing of Serb and Roma civilians, as well as Kosovo Albanian civilians perceived to be collaborators or to be unsupportive of the KLA, were not on a scale or of a frequency that would allow for a conclusion that there was an attack against the civilian population. The prosecution had charged the three accused with 30 murders, where the victims' remains were found in the Radonic Canal area. The Chamber found, however, that only 7 of these murders could be proven beyond a reasonable doubt and were committed by KLA soldiers. These were the murders of Zenon Kashi, Noria Kasnici, Istrev Kasnici, Sania Balai, and the mother and the 2 sisters of witnesses 4 and 19. The evidence presented with regard to the perpetrators and circumstances of the remaining alleged murders was vague, inconclusive, or non-existent. During the trial, the Chamber received evidence from almost 100 witnesses. Nevertheless, the Chamber encountered significant difficulties in securing the testimony of a large number of these witnesses. Many cited fear as a prominent reason for not wishing to appear before the Chamber to give evidence. In this regard, the Chamber gained a strong impression that the trial was being held in an atmosphere where witnesses felt unsafe due to a number of factors set out in the judgment. The parties furthermore agreed that an unstable security situation existed in Kosovo that was particularly unfavorable to witnesses.
A central allegation in the present indictment is the existence of a joint criminal enterprise, to which I'll refer as JCE, the alleged common purpose of which was to consolidate the total control of the KLA over the Dugatini operational zone by the unlawful removal and mistreatment of Kosovo civilians and by the mistreatment of Kosovo Albanian and Kosovo Roma Egyptian civilians and other civilians who were or were perceived to have been collaborators with the Serbian forces or otherwise not supporting the KLA. The prosecution presented no direct evidence to prove that the established crimes were committed as part of a JCE in which the three accused participated.